Modern headless Shopify storefronts function as an addressable surface for AI agents. Building this requires Hydrogen 2026.4, React Router v7, and Cloudflare's Oxygen network. Within this ecosystem, engineering focuses on intent rather than boilerplate UI construction. We call this vibe coding, the orchestration of code generation through strict architectural constraints. The Storefront Model Context Protocol, or MCP, connects the storefront runtime to synthetic AI employees. Success requires orchestrating LLM agents to both construct the codebase and securely operate within the live edge runtime. Mastering this dual architecture, constrained building and programmatic operation, enables headless commerce to scale without accruing massive technical debt. To prevent local AI generation from hallucinating, we embed a rigid constraints manifest within the project root. This ensures the edge emulator functions within production boundaries. The first pillar of vibe coding is enforcing strict flat file routing, standardizing unorganized directories into a predictable hierarchy. The second pillar requires granular, time-based caching. We sort data packets into short-term, long-term, or zero-cache routing paths based on volatility. Third, the architecture demands absolute type safety. The system rejects any untyped variables or anomalous data inputs. Fourth, all data fetching is restricted to server-side loaders. A barrier drops to block client-side fetch requests, routing everything through the server node. Finally, all state mutations are routed strictly through designated action exports. These 5 pillars transform the unpredictability of an LLM into a deterministic edge commerce engineer. Moving to React Router v7 changes how types are generated across the codebase. URL parameters and loader returns are now inferred automatically, mapping data queries to component inputs without manual typing. Generic React fetching patterns lack these inferred guarantees, which creates runtime risks at the edge. To bind the application together, we use a specific context creation utility. This utility aggregates distinct modules, like the storefront client and cart helpers, into a single context payload. In the 2026 setup, we inject the MCP proxy directly into this unified object. This validated context is then passed to every loader across the storefront. Having this context globally available ensures all components have a verified baseline before they render. Type-safe context injection eliminates boilerplate while establishing a secure foundation for AI manipulation. Building the static architecture is only the first step. The system must also manage the live runtime AI engine. It starts with a customer intent prompt entering a front-end chat interface. The front-end routes this unformatted prompt to a dedicated API handler. The handler forwards that intent packet to an external reasoning engine. This external engine determines which synthetic employee should handle the request based on the current context. To execute the request, the engine reaches back into the Shopify backend through a specific gateway proxy. The 2026 architecture natively proxies this route to live commerce data, unlocking access to inventory and cart status. This proxy mechanism enables the storefront to function as a bidirectional intelligence gateway. For these synthetic employees, to operate effectively, developers must grant them access to custom business logic. This involves building addressable tools within a dedicated API directory. For example, a personalization tool can be built to interact with a targeting-focused synthetic employee. When the agent detects a specific user intent, it executes a call to that tool. The tool begins by validating the visitor's secure session ID. It then retrieves the persona matrix associated with that session ID. The tool filters the live collection cache against the weights of that persona matrix. The final JSON array is re-ranked server-side before being returned. This re-ranked array is delivered back to the user interface for immediate rendering. Custom MCP tools allow developers to encode complex business logic into executable functions for AI agents. Combining type-safe loaders with strict vibe coding constraints creates a predictable, manageable environment. Adhering to this stack removes the need for traditional boilerplate and prevents technical debt from accumulating. Wiring external AGI suites directly through the Storefront MCP gateway enables a highly programmatic response to real-time commerce data. The front end now functions as an active reasoning engine. Interpreted intent vectors now drive dynamic UI rendering and cart modifications. The barrier to entry for headless commerce is no longer the codebase itself. Success now relies on defining clear, strict intents for both code generation tools